A couple months ago, Vtoman sent me this little power pack, and I didn't know much about them, and I wanted to make sure that this was a good one before I did a video. They've been emailing me, wanting me to put out a video, and I'm like, no, not until I know for sure this is a good product. Well, I've been doing some research, and apparently this is a really good product. So this particular unit that we got here is what they call the 1500 Jump. And the reason it's a jump is you've got this extra little port right here that you can plug in and jump your vehicle off if you're out camping and leave the ignition on or whatever and your battery goes dead. You can actually use this to jump the vehicle off. Now this is 1500 watt. There are bigger ones and there are smaller ones. So we're going to just consider this as 1500 watts. So I'm not going to get into how many things I can plug into this. If this thing will put out 1500 watts, that means I can plug in 1500 watt lights to it, or I can plug in 150 10 watt lights to it. You know, 1500 watts is 1500 watts as long as it puts out what it says it can. Now it has a pure sine wave. And the thing about the pure sine wave is that it's a lot better on your electronics than the old style inverters. All right, I'm going to bring you in here and we're going to kind of go over the features, because features and quality are the two things that differentiate all these from each other. And a really neat feature is we've got two input ports. Now this takes anywhere from 12 to 30 volts input. So if you have solar panels, you have a windmill, anything, you know, plugging this into the wall outlet, as long as you have something that's putting out anywhere from 12 to 30 volts, you can charge this back up. Now it is 200 watt maximum input. I seem to find that it wants to go about 180 watts input. And a nice thing is like you see right here, it's showing 172 watts is what we got going in it right now. It's plugged into this power box. Now this power box is rated for 180 watts and we're getting 172, but you're always going to get a little bit of loss, and that's completely normal. Now you have this DC out, which is like your old car cigarette lighter type thing, or you have just some regular DC plugs that can go in. If you have anything that runs on 12 volt DC that has like a big box, you don't have to use that. You can just plug it straight into here, and this is going to get you your 12 volt DC power out. And by not plugging it into the AC outlets and going straight out to DC, you're not losing, because you're losing energy going from the DC and the battery in here to the AC, and then from the AC back to DC to your units. You also have 3 regular USB ports and a quick charge USB port. The blue, I think it's like the USB 2. And all of these have switches to where you can turn them on and off individually. It also has 2 USB-Cs. You know, USB-C is definitely better because it does charge quicker than a regular USB does. Then you have 3 110 outlets, and with a combined total of 1500 watts out. A great thing about this unit is it's 828 amp hours of storage capacity, but you can plug in right here. They sell another little box like this that doesn't have the inverter, but the batteries are about twice the size, and then it can plug straight into here. And so now you've got triple the amount of storage capacity. Is about 2400 amp hours instead of your 828 amp hours that's just in this one unit. And they sell different units that you can connect to this to extend the amount of storage capacity you have. You'll still only have your 1500 watts out, but you're going to have your storage capacity. The unit comes with this little storage bag here, and in the little bag it's got your cigarette lighter type plug that can go right in here, and that will put you 12 volts out. So if you have anything that takes 12 volts, you can use this to bypass a little power brick. You've got an extra USB-C to USB-C, and you've got the USB-A to USB-C. These all are very good quality cables. They're not the real thin, cheap ones. You can tell, you know, by the size of the cable that they're made to carry higher amps or more amps than some of those little cheap cables. And then again, it comes on this little nice little bag, which the battery or the charger fits in here too. So you have a nice little, you know, place to keep all your stuff together. While we're talking about nice keeping all your stuff together, they also sent me the solar panel. So this is a 220 watt solar panel. One of the really cool things is the handle on it. It kind of has right here folded in your wires. So you don't have to have those, they're already connected. Now this has just your standard solar connectors to it, and then you need a wire to connect to that. I've already taken it out. It's got a nice little pouch right here to keep them in. And so you can connect right into there. And then one of the other nice things about it, so for our Vtoman, it takes this wire. But if you see the end of this has your 3 major type of connections. So this solar panel can connect to pretty much anything that takes solar panels. You don't have to have just this connector. You know, whatever you can use a solar panel for, this will pretty much connect to it. And also it has the kickstands that are Velcroed right in here on the back of it. The only thing I would have liked is there's like a grommet here, is if this would have had a clip. It does have a little clip to hold the bottom parts together, but the top parts here don't. However, this is made out of a very rugged material. It's semi-flexible, and I don't think that you'll have any issues with this getting tore up or damaged. It's a very well made. I was very impressed with this solar panel here. Now you've seen I was getting about 170 watts from the power brick. Now I've got this solar panel just thrown here on the ground. It does have kickstands to kick up, but I plugged it in here, and we can see that here on the screen, get that to light up, 159, 160 watts. So pretty much we are within 10 watts of the same amount of power that we were getting when this was plugged into the wall. So, you know, turn these up, I don't know if that's making a difference. Nope, 159 watts. And again, it's 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I have this laying on the ground, and we are still getting about the same amount of power as if we were plugged in. Now this is something that's really kind of neat and that works really well, but also could be better. So right now we are using about 60 watts. I got plugged into here, and that's giving us 7.8 hours of usage. So now that we know that this is going to run about 7.8 hours using that 60 watt, I've got the solar panel here. I plugged the solar panel in, and then it's going to, you know, go ahead and things will start flipping around there for a second, and then it'll roll over. And now it's, you know, coming up with 2.3 hours, and it's flashing. So if it is flashing, that means that is how long it's going to take in order to charge. So this is actually 65 watts. What it's doing is it's now powering that heat gun off of the solar panel, and then what is left over, it is putting it into the battery. And so we've got 70 watts going back into the battery to charge the battery, and then the other wattage is going in to run this. And so it's going to take 2 hours, and then the battery would be fully charged while that is running. Now if I turn this off, you'll see the wattage automatically jump back up, and then the hours charging is going to go back down, because it's going to take a lot less time to get that fully charged. So there's no indicator light, but if you see it flashing, that's what that means. That is the amount of time before it's fully charged. Whereas if it's on solid, that is how much time you have of usage left. These things are only good if they work. If they don't work, if they error code out, then they're garbage. That's what's the most important about this, is if it works. Now what I've done here is I've got a heater that's 1500 watts, and then I've got a heat gun that's pulling about 1200 watts. So we've got about 2700 watts here connected. Now we're 83%, and we've got it plugged in, and it's getting 169 watts coming into it. Well, I'm going to turn this on, and now if it errors out, then it's no good. So let's see what happens when we overload this system All right, you hear the inverter kicking in, and now everything's starting to ramp up, and you see our wattage going up, and it has, oh, that's not on the table, so let me put that on the table so it'll kick in. Turn it the other way. That's a little heater. And see, when it goes in, it's kicking up well over our 1500 watts, but we're running at like 1700 watts, and it is still running. Now, it's got some sort of smart technologies that's supposed to be able to handle the over current, and then it regulate it down, but it's still running over 1500 watts, and now it's slowly bringing it back down and giving us our 1500 watts, and it is running, which is important because if we are needing a backup system, we need it. And if I pull just a little bit more juice than what it says and it shuts off, that's no good. I need to just give me as much juice as I can get for those situations, but I need you to work. And this machine, as much as I put it to it, I have yet to have it cut out or give me any sort of error message. So this thing has been just rock solid, bulletproof. And I got one more test really surprised me to show you. So I was trying to overload this machine just to see if I can get this to shut off. So I figured what would pull the most juice that I've got that I can plug into this is 110. So I figured I'd get my little welder out here and see what would happen. And welding, no problem whatsoever with this welding machine hooked into a battery. I would have never thought it. So all I can say is I'm definitely impressed with this little box. I've done everything I can to try to get it to air out, and nothing I have done has seemed to phase it. This thing is working just fantastic. This is the solar panel that's hooked into it. You know, I've got what, an hour and 40 minutes or 1.4 hours, and this thing will be fully charged again just off the sun. So definitely, if you're in the market for one of these, check out the links in the description, and if you have any issues, let me know, because I haven't found any issues whatsoever with this thing, and I'd like to hear other people's opinion about it. So leave it in the comments, and until next time, I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon.